Welcome, one and all. We have experimented on show 19, and it's something to travel across country to watch. Charlie, what kind of show are we creating on this show?
Well, Paul, during today's show, we head back to 1985 to check out the John Cusack's first leading role in the timeless and sometimes underrated classic, The Sure Thing. While we're hanging out in 1985, we're going to get a blueprint on how to create the perfect girlfriend from our high school heroes, Gary and Wyatt, as they teach us about their weird science. Between our deep dives into those two masterpieces, we're going to share our perfect pint of the week during Paul and Charlie's beer break. Then we'll wrap up the show by each adding 5 more raging anthems to our ever expanding, totally radical mixtape playlist, which is featured on Spotify. So if you want to share in the mayhem that is our playlist, be sure to look us up. And once you've watched the show, you're going to know that we're a sure thing. But be sure to beat on your like and subscribe buttons to make sure you don't miss out on any of our future nostalgic journeys. But without further ado, let's get the bras on our heads, let's shotgun our beers, and let's make sure we hook up the doll. Because it's...
Whoa. Charlie, hold on a second. Don't say your tagline here. I'm not feeling this, man. It's just not working. We need sponsors. With all the copyrights blocking us from making millions, we can't pay our editing, legal, marketing, props, and art department staff.
I don't know if sponsors will cut it. We kind of need to be popular to get views. I mean, we're old. We need some eye candy.
That's all those things are true. But what we need is science. To create the perfect show host. A sure thing.
Well, that's weird. Not exactly what I was thinking, but sure.
Okay. Well, guess what?
We're gonna need a montage. Elastic tubes and pots and pans and pieces and the magic from the handle making weird signs. Things I've never seen before. Wisdom and imagination, weird science. Not what teachers fly. My creation.
I'm of the old one, and I'm the Prince of Darkness.
Well, that didn't work. But it's showtime.
Destiny. My density.
We're back for another round.
Ooh, we're getting close to the 20s.
We are almost there. We're knocking on the door to our special 20th episode.
Ooh, yes. So that one's going to be pretty epic, folks. So keep rolling. Keep checking them out. And it's going to be a milestone that beyond all milestones, a thing of destiny.
That's right. Bringing back one of our guests from a former show. So if you can't narrow down who it is, just watch all the shows and you'll be able to at least have a rough idea of who it's going to be. So pretty good idea.
All right. Well, I think we get into this because we got a lot to talk about.
A great journey back to one of my favorite years, 1985, when I was just starting out at Chesapeake or getting ready to enter my freshman year and sort of be that. Actually, I went in Northeast in 9th grade, and then we moved down the road to 10th, 11th, and 12th. But, being a freshman at any high school, you're always subject to a lot of ridicule, scorn, hazing, I guess maybe would be a good word for some of the things that, people go through, and especially in that awkward stage that a lot of us have had.
This is a wedgie.
Yeah, I I mean, obviously there was people that we know who had, I would think that they had the perfect 4 years at high school, and they were so popular, got along with everybody, and had a great time. That wasn't necessarily me. And
Nah.
I can think back to some really odd moments of my high school years. I didn't have a friend like Gary or Wyatt where the opportunity to create the perfect woman ever came up. But this was
Right.
interesting. Weird science. All right, let's go. Let's check
Let's
out
hop on in.
our art department, who probably just didn't like the intro about how I was not paying them. We're able to make this before they go on strike, maybe.
We told them it was an internship. Come on, guys, give us a little bit of leeway. Once we get to 100 subscribers, then we can talk. But let's keep the push. Let's keep the
Yes.
push.
But yeah, this is close.
Yeah.
Yeah, underwear on their heads. we were wearing bras.
Right.
But yeah, they should be wearing bras.
Yeah, that's sort of like tidy whities and a cooking helmet or some sort. That's a little bit of a hybrid type thing, but apparently it worked. I mean, she's there in the doorway, so that's what they were
Sure.
after.
Yeah, and I'm guessing since Gary, I don't recall ever having siblings, but Wyatt had Chet, a brother, so the bras must have come from Wyatt's mom's drawer.
And that's a little convoluted. It's a movie that it's a nice journey to go back and check out. I've definitely seen this movie a number of times over the years. I mean, this is one I think a lot of people pick up kind of a quarter of the way in or halfway in, and they just can't put it down. I almost kind of forgot about the opening scene when they got pantsed in front of the gymnasium.
Yes, and the shocking thing that was revealed to me now that we've been doing 18 of these shows was where they were located.
Right. Shermer, Illinois, just like every other movie. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what we've learned in our research about that. But yeah, it's again, Chicago is the 80s Hollywood for anybody that didn't know. We certainly know that by now.
I do like the opening because it's a lot of kids these days go, oh my gosh, your intros were so long. They go through the entire credit list versus now they go straight into the movie and then they take care of that stuff in the end.
I mean, I guess I would think, not a bad idea. Maybe if they have a better fashion of underwear than the tidy whities, maybe they're actually getting free advertising. But I think in this particular case, obviously it was an embarrassment, and the sort of the subjects of their love for the classmates, I think, was really the Deb and Hilly, their characters. I think in the very beginning they said, "Yep, they're gonna love us one day," and it took a little while, but they worked on it and they got it done.
Yeah, they did what I couldn't do with Janet Conrad. Eventually, I want to talk about those two as we get further into it because they did play an interesting part.
One thing that I also discovered in the research, one of the bands that you featured on a previous show, Killing Joke, this was the first movie soundtrack they were ever on. They were on another 20, I guess, over the course of their career. But again, Paul looking back and capturing some of the essence of the movie soundtrack industry in one of his previous top 5 picks.
Yes.
Nice grab, Paul.
Thank you very much. I did not choose Killing Joke. They actually played the song 80s, which is a really good song. But I said, no, I've already covered Killing Joke. Let me move on. But I do want to remind folks, go back and watch the episode with Ferris Bueller. And then, of course, we featured it a few times with the clarinet where he plays it. And it's not a lesson. But in the background is a poster saying Killing Joke.
There's always a poster.
Well, that's exactly what I'm going to bring up later. Yes, there's always a poster, including this one. It has a lot of text, by the way, on each side of Kelly LeBrock's head. But Anthony Michael Hall as Gary, coming off of a phenomenal. I mean, he's rolling at this point in time. So he did Vacation. Obviously, you remember him, Rusty in '83, but 16 Candles in '84, Breakfast Club in '85. And obviously back to back with Weird Science. And then he moved on to I guess grew up a little bit because he got a hell of a lot bigger than what we saw in Breakfast Club and 16 Candles. But yeah, Out of Bounds in 86 and Johnny Be Good in 88.
So interestingly enough, obviously Anthony Michael Hall was linked with John Hughes, and National Lampoon's Vacation, and he actually turned down the the lead in European Vacation to do this movie. But after they finished shooting this and then 16 Candles afterwards, Anthony Michael Hall sort of had the revelation that, hey, I don't want to play nerdy characters the rest of my career. So he turned down, he was going to be Cameron in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
When Cameron was in Egypt's land, let my Cameron go.
He turned that down. And
Thankfully.
he turned another role down. It fails me right now, but he turned down 2 roles from John Hughes because he wanted to do something else. John Hughes never talked to him again.
Ooh.
He's probably like, I made you.
Maybe
Okay
he's like,
for
I wanted
himself.
you to be an Uncle Buck. Well,
So,
the guy that was opposite of Anthony Michael Hall was Elon Mitchell Smith as Wyatt. He's pretty easy to cover. He was in Wildlife. That's where he was spotted by John Hughes. He did that in 84. And then he went on to do Superboy in 88. Nope.
Didn't
Crickets.
see that one. Didn't see that
and then
one.
and then that's it. He actually, I think, he stopped acting and moved on to other things.
He did
Can you
okay.
imagine? Yeah. Can you imagine though? You those boys made that.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
But the John Hughes universe is just, the guy obviously had a formula that worked. We talked about when he wrote Ferris Bueller's Day Off. He wrote the script in like 3 days or something like that. He wrote this one in 2. I just don't. I mean, I know when I wrote screenplays and tried to do that, if I got 10 pages done in a day, I was like doing a victory lap around the house, and this guy's just pumping them out.
I know. He's got to be such an anomaly to you, and so frustrating from a creative writer standpoint, like you've been into it. Knowing that, oh my gosh, how is this possible? Yet, I know you're not trying to do teenage angst, romantic comedies kind of screenwriting, but this was his genre. He was rolling with it, and yeah, he changed a little bit. I think we actually talked about his entire catalog in a previous episode. So with you mentioning John Hughes, and obviously we're going to get back to the rest of the cast, which you see some of them right there. John Hughes, if you grew up in the 80s, you better know who he is. He went on to do things like National Lampoon's Vacation, Christmas Vacation, Mr. Mom, 16 Candles, Pretty Pink, Weird Science. There's a theme within all of those. He probably made a lot of those kids or young adults extremely rich.
Well, he and another interesting thing in the deep dive, finding out that he was sort of, well, the studio pretty much said, you're going to do Weird Science before you do your pet project Breakfast Club, which followed this one here. But we had read up that he really is working just ridiculous hours, just trying to get the movie produced and get it done so he could move on to shoot the Breakfast Club, which I think, I guess from a total quality standpoint, it's probably a better movie, I guess, from a depth standpoint.
Oh yeah,
I mean, they both
absolutely.
What did this one rate on IMDb?
Thank you very much. I wanted to bring up that, and also wanted to mention how in our last show, we said Revenge of the Nerd is so quotable. There's not a lot of quotable material from Weird Science. There's a heck of a lot of quotable material from Breakfast Club. It was just different. And I think obviously they packed Breakfast Club with kids that were just perfect. They were the Brat Pack. And they all moved on to stardom, whereas Weird Science, it didn't have that foot in the door or the launching pad. It was PG-13. It got a 6.6 IMDb. Eesh. and a 60% Rotten Tomatoes.
I believe I read in the research that when the girl is, when everything gets sucked out of the house and her clothes start coming off, so she gets pulled out to her bra in the PG-13 cut, but apparently there was a print of the movie where her undergarments came off, and that was the R-rated version, so that wasn't actually released, but there's apparently multiple prints of the movie, because there's, at the end, when she does when she blows the whistle and she's the gym teacher, apparently the main print is the Rocky theme in the background, but apparently there's another print of the movie where it's another Oingo Boingo song, or it's Weird Science again at the end. So just kind of interesting how all that stuff gets tied together and how important a rating can be to a movie, especially a teen movie. Yeah, did you ever go to the movies and they carded you to go into an R-rated movie when you were a teenager? I can't say I can recall something like that.
Yeah, I don't remember that at all. I've seen references to it, and I guess it sort of in the movies they show it, but I don't. I like how you jumped right into the nakedness angle. Yeah, she was apparently a Playboy playmate, and I don't know if, to me, that seems very a childish way. Like, really, John Hughes, you think you needed to go that angle just to get a different rating or different audience members? But
yeah, the obligatory TNA that he tends to sprinkle in there a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, how gigantic is their chimney? That's what I wrote down.
Right.
A grand piano goes out their chimney. I'm like, what? And then of course all goes back.
Well, we mentioned the movie being quotable. So.
Oh, I know. No. I said no, not quotable. I mean, there's some, but not as much as the stuff that we've featured before.
3 things I quote, and I kind of forgot what they even came from until I watched the movie. Okay. She's into malacas.
What's a beautiful broad like you doing with a malaca like this, huh?
It's purely sexual.
No shit.
She's into malacas, Dino.
She's into malacas.
When he's jacked up in the car and in the pink convertible, and they go around the corner and he's all over himself in the back seat, when he says, "You all right back there?" "Well, my balls are halfway up my ass, but other than that, I'm perfect." So that's another one I've used over the years.
Interesting. I've never used that.
I hate this car. I hate it. Okay. Well, my nuts are halfway up my ass, but other than that, I'm perfect.
And then finally, when he wants to drive, "Give me the keys! Give me the keys!"
You know, I really shouldn't be driving.
Hey, listen, I appreciate it. You know, I really just don't feel like driving.
Okay, forget it. I drive. Give me the keys. Give me the keys.
I remember, as I used to be the key master at my parents' house back in my senior year of high school, we would always collect everybody's keys, and then we would end up inevitably dipping into that reference as people tried to convince me that they were okay to drive, which that didn't happen.
I am Vince Clortho, Keymaster of Gozer. Volca Sildro, our Lord of the Cebulia. Are you the gatekeeper?
Are you the keymaster?
Not that I know of.
Are you the keymaster?
Yes.
Yeah, let me bring up Anthony Michael Hall's drunken acting. That part is cringeworthy to me. It just seemed so off, and I guess it's good in a way. So Kevin Perkins, you've met him. We came out to Las Vegas and we had a great time picking out and Elizabeth Shue is our top love of crush of the 80s. He and I did, because I used to love, just like you, Charlie, I used to love my dad's camcorder. I used to make movies and all kinds of stuff and create things. And we created this fake party that oh my gosh, we had such a great time. We all got, drunk and sloshed. And we actually did that drunken voice that Anthony Michael Hall does.
See?
Man, yeah, damn, I'll tell you something, man.
No, it just seems so stupid now hearing him. But
Yeah.
he was 16 when they filmed this. Wyatt was 15, and maybe we'll get into it later, but Kelly LeBrock was 25.
Interesting.
So,
That's
and
jailbait
then-
right there.
Well,
Other way around.
Kelly LeBrock kissed Wyatt. I mean, well, Lisa kissed Wyatt. But yeah, I mean, I was like, wait, how old is she? 25 kissing a 15-year-old. But yeah, this goes back to a little bit of what our last show was about with Max Headroom. This literally is an AI sex bot. Well, that's what they intended to make her as, but they didn't create the sex part. And I thought it was amazing. So yeah, let's go into this, which featured a floppy disk and
Yeah, but going into the government computer to get a little extra bandwidth. I mean, they customized it as they sort of said, they just want a handful because any more than that, you're risking a sprained wrist. And then later, when they had the popular guys over,
Ian and Max,
they wanted to go with a little bit larger breasts in terms of that, and kind of like Kelly LeBrock said to him, well, in your thirst for power and status and glory, you forgot to hook up the doll. Instead of getting a girl, they got a missile.
Like you said in the beginning, the intro. Yeah, these are our heroes. I'm curious who actually had the computer to even attempt this. I'm assuming they went to Radio Shack, and then they actually had the components of the floppy disks and the magazine material and the doll and the electrodes and all that stuff. But pretty crazy. This is what's great about it is, remember, even with Ferris Bueller, he was like boop bop boop bop. He's doing all these little crazy things, and he's like,
I asked for a car, I got a computer. How's that for being born under a bad sign?
Well, it's just a stupid little detail. I had read that they modified the keyboard to have a bigger enter button, like when they were doing it for these guys, if you remember. Just dumb little details, but God knows those computers didn't have the amplitude to do much of anything back in those days. I think I was running a cassette drive in 1985 on my Commodore 64, if I remember correctly.
"Don't touch that button, you fool!"
Don't touch it! It's the history eraser button, you fool!
That's right, the big shiny red button. Leave it alone. Or we're gonna have to start over. We don't want that. One other quotable part of the movie was when Ian and the other guy's name,
Max.
Ian and Max, when they went to the blues bar. Well, no, this was at their party. He said, "Hey, I'd like a glass of scotch." And he's like,
Straight up?
Yeah, give me the whole bottle.
Tell you what, you bend over, and I'll shove it straight up your ass.
Yeah.
"The rocks will be fine."
I wrote down that this was like how you mentioned in a previous episode. Charlie has a party at his house to bring over some potential new friends that he's going to make at Chesapeake High School, and you're breaking a lamp. There was breaking sounds a lot during this party. Now, granted, I think they did really well by bringing these guys over from the blues bar and making them sort of help manage the party, if you will, but certainly didn't stop stuff from being smashed. Yeah, so let me go back to, can you go back to Ian and Max? Obviously Robert Downey Jr. is in this movie. I can't remember what he did prior to this, but after this he just, oh my gosh. So I don't know if he was amazing on set. People saw something in him that was just ridiculous. He didn't do a lot in this movie to even warrant some sort of talent scouts. This guy's really good. His agent must have been phenomenal. But he did Lesson Zero in '87, 2 years from this movie. And then, of course, I'm not even going to get into what he did after that. Everybody should know. But Robert Rustler, Max on the right, sporting an earring. Hopefully, maybe on both sides. I don't know. Remember that if you had an earring in the left side, it meant you were gay or right. Remember that?
I think it was vice versa. I think it was right.
Yeah, maybe it was vice versa. Yeah.
Did you have an
He
earring
went-
in high school?
Hell no. No, I didn't have an earring. I don't even have a tattoo.
Well, I don't have any tattoos. I did have an earring though. Me and Atlee used to wear these big ass hoop earrings, just kind of like the whole pirate look. I should have had the puffy shirt back in those days.
Oh,
But that show hadn't come out yet.
You're gonna be the first pirate.
But I don't want to be a pirate.
I don't want to be a pirate. You can get that shirt for $20 on Amazon for those that want that puffy shirt.
Robert was in Nightmare on Elm Street in '85, so same year as this. His seminal role, whatever you want to call it, is Thrashing. Remember that movie, Thrashing, in '86?
I think so. There's
Kind of,
skateboards in that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly.
Lucky guess.
Yeah, that's one of those words that nobody uses today, but back in the day, you thrashing? Yeah, I'm thrashing.
Yeah, a thrasher.
Kelly LeBrock, man, you had her up earlier. I just want to cover her because obviously my understanding is she made the movie. She kept it cornered. She made like Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert kind of go, you know what? If Kelly LeBrock wasn't in this movie, this would have been dumb. She was sort of like the voice of reason. You thought that she was going to be an idiot and whatever, but no, she was actually really good. She did Women in Red in '84, and then Hard to Kill in 1990 with her then husband, Steven Seagal. You remember that guy?
I remembered that.
Yeah. Oh, and she's also, I believe, Pantene. She was a spokeswoman for Pantene. Do you remember? Don't hate me because I'm beautiful.
Yes. There you go. That's her.
That's her.
Well, thank God Demi Moore didn't get the role. She was one of the finalists for this. I think they definitely
Really?
chose wisely with Miss Kelly. That's for sure.
Is there a banner for that?
There's not.
Okay, so when did they do the David Lee Roth? Is that during the making of her?
Well, his image got fed into the machine, and then it popped up the Dave TV reference from his early videos when he was just turning solo, and then they played Pretty Woman later on too. So David got some pretty good run in the movie, I would have to say.
You're right. Yeah, because we seem to come across now. We're sort of crossing our own proton beams, and our shows are starting to merge in certain areas with. We just had David Lee Roth on that exact thing where Dave TV, because you mentioned you did Van Hagar and Van Roth sort of Van Halen.
That was David's sort of coming out party for his solo career at that point. He was breaking away from Van Halen after 1984. He's like, I'm gonna do his whole California persona, and sort of his covers he did. I mean, he had a great band behind him. Don't get me wrong. When he went solo, he had Steve Vai on guitar and the Bissonette brothers on bass and drums. I mean, he didn't screw around, but it didn't take long. Again, not being derogatory, but I saw him numerous times in the early 90s, and you could tell the cocaine had taken a toll because he constantly forgot lyrics. And I still am like, dude, these are your songs. I mean, you rehearsed these how many times? I mean, it's not
be like the Judas Priest. I always forget his name. Rob Halford.
Yep, he does.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Woohoo! I am learning something, Charlie.
You are. You are.
So did you notice that? It took me a while to kind of go, wait a minute, what just happened? So when they left the bedroom, there's electricity and their suits changed. So she had tons of power. She could come up with vehicles and do things, which I thought was really strange. She had she kind of made people forget memory loss and freeze people, and you're like, what is going on here? I do see, this is why I love about movies, around this time frame, 85, because you look back and go, so those suits they had on with the super thin tie were in then, or whatever have you. But
there was probably like half a dozen people at Chesapeake who were sort of like in style, and like the high school that Paul and I went to was sort of half and half. I mean, like Northeast, where I went for 9th grade, is more of a gritty kind of school, so you don't really see a lot of that. But there was a lot of affluence on the Pasadena Peninsula, and you did have that handful of people who I won't call out by name. You all know who you are, but the ones that had the thin ties and the specific shoes and everything like that. I mean, there certainly was a section of the population like that, but that was not my side of the house.
The gentleman you brought up from the blues bar, did that have like a weird babysitting blues kind of vibe to it?
Nobody gets out of his
Oh,
bed
yeah.
without singing
Yeah,
the blues.
it did.
Probably a lot of the same guys.
And then this is John Hughes did Ferris Bueller or no? I can never remember. He did. So in Ferris Bueller, we talked about the fourth wall, crossing that fourth wall, and they did it in here. They actually stopped and looked at the camera. Yeah.
Everyone. He definitely, again, John Hughes, he gets something that works. But
dude, look at that.
We did crack the Shermer code. Shermer, Illinois technically is a made-up city, but there was Shermerville, which is the original name of Northbrook, Illinois, where Glenbrook North High School is. Well, Glenbrook North is in all of the exterior school shots for Ferris Bueller's Day Off, for Breakfast Club, for Weird Science. It's all tied together. But they renamed the town in 1923. But John Hughes has always given it its proper homage by it being the center of the 80s movie universe. So, but we finally cracked the code. We know it's not a conspiracy. We know there was something to it.
And we've agreed that we're starting a checklist. Well, I guess we're going to create a map, a totally radical mixtape podcast road trip map, and we're going to put pins in certain locations for visiting film locations. So we're going to go to Schwermer, freaking Illinois, if we can find it, and we'll start there.
Well, we know what the real city is now. We're going to Northbrook, baby. We're going to shoot episode 21 from the Northbrook. We're from Glenbrook North High School Gymnasium. That's what we should set a goal for.
We're going to walk out like this. Yeah, Bill Paxton. I know you have a shot of him.
I have a before and after of Bill.
he was also applauded for his role, which I don't know. I mean, he wasn't in it a lot, but his lines and the way he came off. He was in Terminator in '84, and in Aliens in '86, and both those roles have a Chet in them, don't they?
They do.
Yeah.
He definitely he captured. Well, it's funny because people always joke about Bill Paxton and Bill Pullman. They always get them confused, And I even quizzed Christine. I was like, "Is that Bill Paxton or Bill Pullman?" She got it right. That's Paxton. Yep. I said, that's right. But yeah, a lot of the same characteristics of that. But Chet goes through changes just like the rest of us do, and he crossed Lisa one too many times, and then he ended up in a far different component as she was turned into a large piece of shit.
A Jabba the Hutt kind of thing.
Yeah, his little tongue popped out. He caught a fly.
True. I would say, I'm sorry, not Jabba the Hutt, Pizza the Hutt.
Yes, Pizza the Hut. So he definitely and it wore off. So it wasn't like he was stuck like that forever. But
no,
Lisa had a little bit of pity on him at least. But
it was such a small part of the movie though, and people remember it so much.
Well, the quote of that was, "Sorry for being such a shit to you." That's another one that some people like to use. Well, there was also some good bombardier work at the shopping mall.
You're going to mention the Icy?
Dump.
Thank
Icy Dump. So this would have worked at Marley Station, our flagship mall that we grew up in. I mean, a good 2-floor mall where you certainly would have some good overhead type opportunities to do that. So they were able to properly aim, and they did reach their targets.
They did. Yeah, Icy's were obviously huge, and they kind of still are. Slurpees, Icy's, what have you. But I want to I want to kind of connect Ices with this movie had so much mall activity.
You got that right.
Yeah, this was huge stuff. And what I loved was just again looking at the stores that were around at the time in the movie, and then I think buttons on jackets was huge. I had buttons on stuff and denim. Remember denim jackets? People had tons of buttons on denim jackets. So I thought that was neat.
I had buttons, and I had that egg that died in my inside pocket when I was going to throw it at White Lion. So yes, fully familiar with the phenomenon of the buttons and back patches for us metal guys. You know, you'd always get the big metal back patch that's on there.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so go back to the girls. Because we mentioned talking about them. So you have Suzanne Snyder, by the way, who is Deb. She is the blonde, I believe.
That's right.
And she was 3 years younger than Kelly LeBrock. So she was far older than Anthony Michael Hall and Elan Mitchell Smith. So interesting. She was in Last Starfighter. Love that movie in '84. Pretty Kill in '87. I don't know. And then Killer Clowns in Outer Space in '88. And
I remember her from that.
Oh, you do? Yeah. Okay.
I do. I remember the Killer Clowns. Rented it from Don's.
Now, I thought I recognized Hilly. That's Judy Aronson. She was in Friday the 13th in '84, which means I believe she was different. Imagine that Hilly talks to Max, hey, I was in Friday the 13th. I was in Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
both horror movies during that time frame. And then she was an American Ninja in '85.
She did all right for herself.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not getting into, there was more movies, more TV appearances, and but those are the most notable of what we might remember, and of course how they moved on from movies like this. But yeah, super cute girls and nice. Clearly Ian and Max were not being nice to them, so they moved on to nice guys.
Well, in between, you had basically the Road Warriors rolled into rolled in and were obviously pawing the girls, and basically again another contrived Lisa scenario where it forced Gary and Wyatt to step up and take the gun from Vernon Wells, and then again for those who like Road Warrior, Mad Max of the time, again lots. It's kind of cool to see him, and he was like in the exact same clothes, or exactly makeup, mohawk, his little meshy tank top that he had. It was all the same gear that he had on.
Homage,
Oh, absolutely. And then the other guy,
he was also in Commando in '85.
That's right.
Yeah.
And then, this guy's name fails me right now, but he was the principal in Smoking in the Boys' Room, Motley Crue.
You're right.
He was the one who wiggled his ears at the end and was chasing Vince Neil around.
Well, sorry, Vince. And but he is like what's his name from Revenge of the Nerds? Ogre, Gibb. I think it's Gibb. And he just has a unique look to him that if he got into acting, he'd be picked up for certain roles. Never a leading man, but at the same time picked up for Road Warriors and other strange, where you're just like, what an odd looking fellow, and perfect for certain characters.
Like Richard Mall and as Bull in Night Court, you're always going to be that character. It doesn't matter. You have that look.
That's correct.
So but that was one other quick thing I did want to share. So remember, they were concerned about getting into the Blues Club because they weren't 21.
Oh, that's right. See,
fake ID.
She had the power. She had the electricity.
I almost spit my beer out when I looked at this during the movie. Of course, from Shermer, Illinois. Of course, 5'8", 120.
My gosh, what 21-year-old is 120 pounds?
Well, that's true. That's true. And then just the drawn in mustache and little soul patch
Yeah.
there. I mean, it's just oh god, it's hilarious.
Now, speaking of going in there and drinking, I do. Well, I want to throw out there because this is what we talk about.
Mhm.
The beer of choice in this movie was Old Style.
It was another typical Chicago standard. Probably goes along with Malort. If they would have been drinking liquor, they probably would have been sucking down the Malort there for those Illinois fans out there.
Hey,
You ever had Malort?
No, I've never had Malort.
Like gasoline.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So I think I've covered I covered all the stuff and the chimney cannon and the nuclear warhead, the bikers of Mad Max, the use of the word faggot
Yeah.
was in this movie. And my last two things to you, Charlie, the reference to tossing it in the bathroom or tossed in the bathroom.
Tossing off into a good book. They're saying tossing off being,
Yeah, I know
when-
what it is, but I've never heard that reference before.
That's honestly, this movie is where that reference was planted into my hard drive for the last 41 years, but certainly not something I put into my everyday vernacular. I mean, not like I talk about that all that much in open conversation, but yeah, I think that was, well, maybe it was something that, so being Kelly the Brock is British, maybe that's something that's
Oh
in
yeah,
that
yeah,
vernacular.
well,
I mean,
yeah,
that's
yeah, tossing, yeah.
But speaking of actors bringing something to the table, so one other thing, I had this on a banner. I think I deleted it, but when he talks about when they come in drunk, when Bill Paxton says,
How about a nice, greasy pork sandwich served in a dirty ashtray?
apparently that was something Bill Paxton's dad used to say to him when he came home drunk. So he kind of brought that to the table as something to say in that particular scene. But yeah, just all those crazy facts. I mean, best part about the show is the research. I'm telling you, just so many little facts and nuggets of information.
It is. And obviously with John Hughes, we have to mention how I personally think he was one of the first ones that just understood the soundtrack situation. You make a movie, but you gotta lock in that soundtrack. You don't need to score it like Airplane, for instance. You find the music that's happening, and obviously we'll definitely bring this up when it's the music section. But yeah, you grab what's happening at the time, and I think it adds to the quality of the movie. Because
Well,
there were moments where you see a poster or an album or something in the background, and you go, hey, that's pretty neat.
Well, I think kind of how that works. I mean, I think back to when we reviewed Clerks in episode 6. So, like Kevin Smith talked about it in one of his many books that I've read over the years. But he said, once we got the script bought and the studio was bought into it, they put in like $500,000 for the budget, and that's how they were able to get bands like Alison Chains and some of those bigger acts there. So once John Hughes had established himself as that entity, I'm sure they're like, whatever you want, John, just let's get that music in there. And plus, I mean, that's when people still sold albums and made money from them. So those soundtracks always did very well as far as just getting them out there and making some cash. But how times have changed.
Who's the Jim? Bring that Jim picture up. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So another kind of part of the formula. How many movies, because this happened in Adventures in Babysitting, but how many movies are the parents go away, something that you know very well, Charlie.
I do.
there's a party, but then the parents are coming back and there's a cleanup montage. And then of course, what's happened here? No, nothing. Everything's fine. And of course, Lisa did her little and everything went reverse, which was kind of like the Top Gun. The books went back on the shelf, and I'm like, how did the stuff that gets smashed return back to, I guess,
even as they came in the front door, that last table was sliding into place.
It was. Mom, you didn't see that? Seriously, you didn't see that thing happening?
Oh my God.
All right. So this went so well to the point where they actually made a TV series out of this. It was 88 episodes from 94 to 98, where the absolutely gorgeous Vanessa Angel played Lisa. So yeah.
I didn't watch the TV show. I guess I missed out on that one.
I didn't either. I might have watched it just for Vanessa, but that's about it.
Man, we've talked a lot about this, and I'm just building up a unquenchable thirst. I mean, what can we do about this, Paul?
We can drink old style.
We could, or
have our beer break.
Let's do it.
I want a beer.
Beer.
Wait, we should get some road beers, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, we should get some road beers. No alcohol? This place sucks.
I can't take this much longer. I gotta have a beer. Brilliant.
Bring it.
Clarity. Oh, you can see my noggin. What's that?
Hello? Hey, who? What's up? Nothing, B. Just watching the game, having a bud. What's up with you? Nothing. Watching the game, having a bud. True. What's up? Yo, who's that? Yo, pick up the phone. Hello? What's that? What's up? Yo, where's Dookie? Yo, Dookie! Yo. What's that? What's that? Hold on. Hello?
Look at that one. That's scary. That's very scary.
I picked this because, well, Kelly LeBrock is a brunette, but Nicole Sheridan is a beautiful blonde woman, and she is a sure thing. So,
allegedly,
to honor her, Leffe blonde.
Nice.
I remember drinking Leffe blondes. I would say it wasn't part of the gateway. It was me. You know, again, we've talked about this. Newcastle Brown, Bass Ale. These were my gateways into craft beer or really good beer versus old style. And
Natural Light.
Yeah, and then I eventually found Leffe because it's a Belgian beer. The breweries from on the screen.
That's right. There it is. I knew it was
mean, literally, it says 1240. You think, do you guys have this down yet? Yeah, we're pretty much we're locked this in. We've been brewing this shit since 1240.
Yeah, ask the monks.
Yeah. Oh.
That's why they chanted.
There they are. Beautiful guys. Beautiful. But yeah, this is really good. It is a really good beer. I'm actually surprised it's 6.6. It looks super light and it's a blonde, but it's got some, well, Belgian beers have some oomph behind them. I swear they're so good. And as much as I love this thing right here, it's effing annoying when you actually crack it and you're like, oh, it's stupid. Yeah, you got to peel the crap off and then you create a mess.
Yep, it's on the floor, and then the dog comes up and eats it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. All right, so there you go. And I'll just say it's subtle notes of vanilla and cloves.
Nice. Who doesn't like a good clove in their beer?
No. Sarsaparilla.
A dash of rosemary. Like, yeah, thanks on a turkey, maybe not so much in a beer. But anyway.
This tastes like basil. This tastes like
kind of does.
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Snozberries? Who ever heard of a snozberry?
The snozberries taste like snozberries.
Right.
These pretzels are making me thirsty.
Is that how you're going to say it?
On my side of the house tonight, for my beer, I went back to one of my top 5 breweries as we rated at the end of the year last year, Founders, out of Michigan. I talked about their KBS series. I know we featured one of those Kentucky breakfast stouts on a previous show. Back in 2011, they came out with this beauty called CBS. So this is a Canadian breakfast stout. The price point on this beer is usually, it's worth noting, I can say in most liquor stores or even Total Wine, about $24, $25.99 a 4-pack. So it's a commitment with something like this.
Yeah.
But if you look at some of the details of the beer, so it's a chocolate coffee stout bourbon barrel aged with a dash
I'm
of
sorry.
maple.
I'm sorry. What does the C stand for?
Canadian
Ah,
breakfast stout.
thank
That's
you.
the
Right.
maple syrup angle is the what the C stands for. But I've got your hops on here,
Yeah.
Nugget and Williamette. We have the hops and the malts, oats,
Willamette.
chocolate, roast safari. The beer rating on the beer can't get better than 100.
Yeah, no, this is a beloved beer, beloved brewery. 11.7, 45 IBUs is not a lot, and it shouldn't be for a bourbon barrel aged stout. Nugget is what they do for bittering. Willamette comes from Oregon, and it has a woody, kind of earthy. Oh, it's so good.
That's consistent, and their take on it, it's a bold imperial stout featuring chocolate and coffee that is aged in bourbon barrels with maple syrup. The sweet but balanced aromas of maple syrup and chocolate fill the air. Notes of toasted oak. There's your nugget. Become more profound with every sip, melding together in what is a transcendent drinking experience. And I concur. I mean, this is one they haven't made it for a while. This is one that's probably been out of the founders rotation for a number of years. You might stumble in like a good beer shop, maybe you'll find it, but they gave it a little run right around the holidays, and I've been sitting on this mofo ever since. So just was waiting for the right occasion to bring it out. But it's as good as it sounds. I mean, and the maple syrup's not overwhelming, because that's my first inclination is it going to be too sweet? Is it really going to ruin the texture of a good imperial stout? But yeah, there's a reason it's rated 100.
Is it did you call that cloy? And it's too sweet.
Yeah, you get that old bitter beer face sometimes. It's like, it's you can only drink one, but I like some of the pastry stouts, the imperial pastry stouts can kind of fall into that category, but this is not one of them. Quick shout out to my local brewing, Evolve Brewing up the street. When this was out in circulation, they had a keg on tap, so I definitely grabbed a couple while I could from there. And eventually we'll get out to Evolve, hopefully for an on-location shoot once I can drag you out of California and bring you out to the desert here.
Yep. Yeah.
So, but my thirst is quenched, my friend. So I think we got another movie maybe to talk about, huh?
I know. Okay, so you mentioned Canada, you mentioned maple syrup. That sounds very New Englandish, maybe. Kind
of does.
All right, well, let's get into the sure thing, not a sure thing, the sure thing.
So the sure thing, and like I mentioned in the intro, one of my a masterpiece of a movie, but sometimes forgotten about in John Cusack's lexicon of classic movies that he's done. And I will tell you that if you watch the show and you say, hey, I want to go ahead and watch this movie, I haven't seen it in a long time, you better have a DVD of it, because it ain't going to be easy to find. Thankfully, it's not on any streamers, but I was able to find it on YouTube. You can find full-length versions of it, so that's always an option there as well. But do you remember when you first saw this movie?
Oh, no clue. But it was, I think what you're hinting at was I found the actor. Well, and I've mentioned how he looks like he looked like my brother. And I'm like, I'm loving this guy. He's witty, he's charming, he's got, I love, Better Off Dead was comedic and it was funny. So I'm thinking, man, wait a minute, he's the guy from 16 Candles, and oh wow, he's done another movie called A Sure Thing, and just the premise of it was neat. I thought it was going to be something, but it was different. It was deeper, more meaningful, and I go, oh, okay, he's growing, he's expanding. Of course, then Say Anything was massive, and of course, loved it. Great soundtrack, and then Grosse Point Blank and Beyond. And I go, all right, I'm a John Cusack fan. So yeah. But you're right though. Gosh, this falls through the cracks. And if you're going to Don's videos and you find this, somebody said this is supposed to be good. I think at the end of the night you go, this was a fun movie.
Yeah, and you kind of thought it was going to be something else, like you said. I mean, at the beginning, it's they're getting ready to graduate. He's hanging out with Anthony Edwards, who just got done doing Revenge of the Nerds, and he actually had his toupee on during the movie. He was balding in ER, but he had the toupee on during the movie, and hanging out with Gibb, and they're making their big plans, and they're ready to go off to college. And
yeah. So let me. I'm going to take us off here real quick. We'll be right back, folks. So that was our art department kind of giving the kind of the idea. So coming from New England, we're not really exactly sure. I don't remember knowing exactly where they were.
They kind of intentionally left that out.
Yeah.
They kind of just implied he was going to an Ivy League school.
Ivy League.
And yeah, that was.
Yeah. So that implies that, well, okay, John Cusack plays Walter, but they don't really call him Walter. His last name is Gibson, and they just call him Gibb.
That's right.
And this is his, as Charlie mentioned, his first starring role. He came off Better Off Dead in '85, same year, and then moved on to Say Anything in '89. He linked up with Daphne Zuniga, right? She's Alison. She came off of The Initiation in '84, Cricket, and then Modern Girls in '86, maybe a little bit. And then, of course, we love it, the fact that she was in Spaceballs in '87. But
that's right.
Later on, the ladies might remember her. She was in Melrose Place. But they left New England, and they traveled across country to get to California to both meet up with UCLA, Daphne / Alison to meet up with a boyfriend, and John / Gibb to find his sure thing.
Thing. And he was only 17.
Yeah.
When they shot that
another movie, right? Another movie where you're underage.
Yeah. That's great. And that was he had to, like we were saying on the banner there, he had to get legal emancipation to be able to, from his parents to be able to shoot on location and actually follow through with that. Rob Reiner admitted that when he first auditioned him, he wasn't going to cast him for the movie, but because he was underage, but then he realized he's perfect for the part. So, and I think Rob called that one right.
John Cusack at 17 and versus Anthony Michael Hall at 16, vastly different in their ability to appear as an adult and do the I know Anthony Michael Hall was not supposed to be an adult in Weird Science, but John Cusack, oh my gosh, I was like, he's 17. Like he looked like he could drink. He sounded like he can drink. I mean, he had it all.
He fit in. I think of the scene in the movie when he was at that Tony's bar, I think, as he separated from the hotel, and he fit right in. I mean, he didn't look like a high school guy sitting at a bar. I mean, he just looked like a normal guy from Chicago, because everybody's from Chicago. But just a normal guy at the bar, and easily I would have thought he was 21 or older at that point. So pretty amazing. And then he had the acting chops at 17 to be able to pull that off.
His and we've done this Better Off Dead. His when Johnny knocked on the door or rang the doorbell, go watch the episode. It's awesome. He did a couple of those. I wouldn't call them monologues. Maybe that's what they are. But with the person, they just take the scene. I'm going to talk. Nobody else is going to say anything, and I have this. I have a very long script to read, almost lines to read. When he confronted Alison in the pool and walked up and down when she was doing laps, that was brilliant. Brilliant.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm sure a lot of that's improv. I mean, here's a rough idea of what we want you to say, but he definitely had some stick-to-itiveness when it came to trying to get her to tutor him in English. She was struggling a bit.
Which is again, you're like, if you get into an Ivy League school, dude, seriously, you need tutoring in English.
Right, and you're turning in pizza-stained essays, as the English teacher pointed out.
It's
you definitely.
pepperoni.
Well, yeah. I think it was sausage. She accused him of being pepperoni. I think we're one way or the other.
Which I know a lot of people don't mention. Vivica Lindforce, which is Professor Taub. She actually was a hinge-pin of the entire movie. She created that initial cornerstone of what were they trying to do? They were trying to express their feelings and write these papers that brought them out of their shell, and and of course it put them together, kind of, because he was struggling, but it also showed up where he was asking his roommate was doing almost like a penthouse
Penthouse forward.
Yeah, exactly. But in the end of the movie, they circled back to them being back at the Ivy League school, and he had the story about the Sure Thing, which obviously is a bit of an homage to Rob Reiner as a script or story writer.
Well, I mean, and Rob made sure that he snuck in the poster.
No, Nietzsche's too obscure.
Yeah, bring that up. But
you know
a
that
lot of people
Shakespeare
say
died of
this was it happened one night. They kind of go, oh, he stole it from the. He goes, no, I didn't steal it. I mean, now granted, if you're Rob Reiner, if you're John Hughes, if you're into that whole industry kind of script writing, you've watched a ton of movies. You have an idea of, oh, this movie from the 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, what have you, speaks to me. This is the kind of writing I want to do. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw it happen one night, but he said, no, it's a coincidence that it seems very coincidental. Did I just repeat myself?
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Well, in a roundabout way, but I get what you're
Two beers down. If you watch these back to back, there's not a lot of similarities, but when he was helping his roommate write about, breasts and having in a handful or whatever, and Gibb said,
with long brunette hair, legs that wouldn't quit, and firm tits. Whew. How's that sound?
Change tits to generous scoops of mouth-watering flesh and have them defy gravity. What do you think? Is this shirt good?
Yeah, fine. Now, you think they'll know that scoops of flesh means tits? I don't know. It doesn't sound specific enough.
Where else are you going to find scoops of flesh?
Right.
I went, oh, this is like weird science when they were choosing the breast size of ladies.
Pretty close.
We apologize. It was very gratuitous. And
so here's the title card from the movie, Paul. And it was interesting, the focus of the movie was the Sure Thing. You had Nicollette Sheridan waiting for him out in California. And it was Nicollette Sheridan's movie debut. She certainly had a auspicious career after this, but this was her first foray into the movies. But, again, really the primary characters were John and Daphne, obviously, of course, but, kind of just giving sort of that carrot, I guess, at the end of the string as far as what they were after. But,
hold on. Nicollette Sheridan didn't have a lot of lines, so I mean, yeah,
not really.
She did Knots Landing from '86 to '93, and then Beverly Hills Ninja, which I loved her in '97, out of our range, but yeah, she was stunning. Yeah, stunning.
I think she was in a handful of commercials, if my memory serves me correctly. But again,
she was probably all kinds of stuff. Just
She wasn't winning many Academy Awards. I do know that. But
they I didn't like the way they sort of portrayed her as you're kind of dumb and you're blonde kind of thing. She seemed super nice, and she was like, "Hey, look, I was just told that you're, well, yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get into the whole thing where she's like, you're gay," and I'm like, okay, here we go. But yeah, I was like, you don't need to. Well, they didn't really bust her chops or do anything like that. She just obviously she disappeared from the movie.
Well, Lance, Anthony Edwards he was trying to grease the skids as best as he could. He was just trying to make sure his buddy got laid. Going across 3,000 miles, and
Yeah.
just tried to set him up as like.
Yeah, would you travel that far? I mean, you're already going to an Ivy League. Well, I know they made Gibb out to be morose and depressed and trying to find a girl, and he really couldn't do anything. Which I'm thinking, really, dude? And he seems so outgoing, and he was like, it just takes time, and you'll eventually figure out what you like or who you can meet. But yeah, he's oh, she's a sure thing, and he next he's running. And travel all that way. But yeah, and Anthony Edwards, he's Lance. We don't need to talk about him because watch the last show, Revenge of the Nerds, we talk about him, exactly what he's done.
Right. But what was it, but there were some things, the story essentially as they go across the country, they've got, they don't have the means to get there on their own. They're on a college budget as, many of us were back in those days. So you really got to kind of watch your pennies in terms of how you're going to get. Now you can just hop on a plane or anything like that. But it was interesting, you had, so they joined a ride share. So it's not like the traditional, ride
Uber.
share that we, no Uber, no Lyft, no nothing like that. But what they were blessed with was the ability to hop in the car with Tim Robbins.
Yeah, I don't even know the woman's name. I've seen her before in something else, but I didn't throw her name out there. But Tim Robbins, Gary, Top Gun in '86 with Anthony Edwards and Bull Durham in '88. When I saw that, like, Tim Robbins is in the movie. What part does he play? And then I saw them pick him up and went, "Oh my God, what a crazy role for Tim Robbins." He was great.
I kind of feel like the woman, and I'm not looking at any cheat notes at this second, but I think she was in Vegas Vacation as the wife of Cousin Eddie, if I remember correctly. That's
you're right.
That kind of reminds me of who that was. But so
yeah, we'll
they
check this. It'll be up on the screen, right?
Yeah, we can always fact check ourselves. But they were subjected to a steady diet of show tunes as they kicked off, as this couple didn't realize that they already knew each other. And prior to that, as Gibb had kind of sucked Alison into the tutoring role, he took her from the library up to the roof, and he had some sort of rehearsed lines that he had prepared from his roommate, who was doing the Penthouse letter and everything like that, sort of like...
How's this for an opening line? Did you know that Nietzsche died of syphilis? How about, did you know that Shakespeare died of syphilis? No, she probably knows it isn't true.
And he made a move on her, and that was pretty much it. She got off the roof, got the hell away, and wasn't really into his advances at the time.
There's that, again, this is 85, just like Weird Science. You've got a jacket with the sleeves pulled up, with the collar popped up, and this is Miami Vice-esque type of look.
It was a collar popping kind of era. That was definitely a conscious choice that you would make as an '80s teen back in those days to try to fit in, and especially with the Ivy League. You're always kind of expected to be wearing like those sweaters or whatever, that sort of rugby kind of shirts, I guess is what they called them back in those days.
Sure. Yeah, and this one had a station wagon, but it wasn't the beautiful station wagon we love from Vacation and Nerds.
It was a 58 Mercury is what it was.
58 Mercury. And they didn't wear seatbelts in them. Oh my gosh.
I think there's probably a lap belt that would, cut you off at the waist if you actually got in an accident. That kind of thing.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
So then they got kicked out. Ultimately, Gibb kind of shamed Alison for being, that anal retentive kind of person who doesn't do anything spontaneously and things like that. So Alison decided to again take her tits out and show the people who had just mooned them, because that was the conversation. He goes, they've mooned, John's like cheering them, or Gibbs cheering them on, And she's like, "Why? That's so stupid. Don't you ever just let loose and release?" So she ended up, taking him out.
Well, there was a time that she goes, there's a time for spontaneity. Like,
that's right. That's right. So they got pulled over for the indecent exposure, and as Gibb was leaning out the window there, he goes, "Well, are we being ticketed for a load not properly tied down?"
Yeah. Shut up.
Great
That's
lines.
right.
Great lines. And Tim Robbins definitely had his hair teased up a lot in that.
He was done. Well. Yeah, he was done after that. It's everybody out. Everybody out. They're done.
Yeah, you guys gotta go.
They began hitchhiking across the United States.
Yeah, where Gibb got to
show. So this goes back. This is what he. Okay, this is. There was another movie that did this. She has a legit suitcase. He has some sort of like Vietnam era duffel bag, and for some reason, it's like the Harry Potter of duffel bags. He has these road beers that he keeps on bringing out. Very bland looking, hardly any label to him, whatever. And that's why I have my little moniker headline. As when I travel with road beers and snowballs. He ate a snowball. I'm not sure where he bought it or if it was in his duffel bag, but I used to love snowballs.
Oh my God, yeah.
They have to be one of the worst things that you can eat.
Oh, great breakfast.
Protein. They are right up there, but they are delectable.
Yes, they are.
So, but he shared his pork rinds and was, kind enough to share the. It had 1% of your daily allowance of riboflavin, so you're able to satisfy that vitamin group.
Hi, I'm Ricky Bobby. One of my fondest childhood memories is sitting on the back porch enjoying a whole mess of pork rinds. But I can't eat them the way I used to. But thanks to Bob Dawson's, I can eat as much as I want. Bob Dawson's Diet Pork Rinds. That's a good pork rind. Bob Dawson's Diet Pork Rinds. Healthy and delicious, like a pork rind should be. Bob Dawson's Diet Pork Rinds. Hey, is that pork rinds of Bob Dawson's?
Yeah, she wasn't really so much digging him at that point. So think about the sort of the transition in the movie when she started kind of buying into what he was selling. Hitchhiking.
Oh, hitchhiking.
Somebody finally picks her up. He's like, "I wouldn't take that ride if I were you." And then so when she hops in the car with this Yahoo right here, you see a quick camera shot, the wedding rings coming off, and he's like, "Yeah, it's really lonely out here on the road, and blah blah blah," and just doing that whole,
Well, yeah, it was a sexual assault. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's certainly what it was. So John Gibb had jumped in the tailgate of the truck, or those who haven't seen the movie. And he hopped in the cab and started acting like a psychopath, saying, "Well, why did you pick me up?" Or thanks for the ride, that kind of thing. Again, that was one of the quotes I used to steal all the time. But yeah, he rescued her out of the truck, and all of a sudden, her tune kind of changed a little bit, realizing that he is kind of looking out for my best interests and not trying to feed me a bunch of lies.
And then. I don't. This was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles where they forgot something in the hotel. I'm like, and she was. This is what annoyed me. She was looking everywhere, all over the place, checking everything, and they left without her planner and wallet or something like that. And she ultimately found a magical emergency credit card, which changed everything. And brought them close together, obviously. But yeah. Shotgunning beer.
So interesting things about that. Again, as we dug up in the research. So Gibb shotgunning the beers was something that Rob Reiner wasn't aware of, but something that John Cusack apparently had become very adept at the age of 17. So
17.
Tells you about a little bit about John there. But that's something that I became fairly proficient at
11
after watching the movie. Yeah, somewhere in that vicinity. And to the uninitiated, I mean, you basically just take a can of beer, you puncture the side, and then pop the tab, that's your ripcord, and you got to basically suck the entire beer down.
And knowing is half the battle.
At the same time. So probably not something to do with a CBS. Well, obviously the glass would shatter since it is in a bottle, but if it were in a can, it probably wouldn't turn out.
We both have bottles today. I don't know.
Right.
Die in the face!
These cans are defective. They're springing leaks. Come over here, look at that.
Listen, you better run for cover. You're gonna spring a leak.
Huh?
We don't have defective cans. We have a defective person out there.
He hates these cans. Stay away from the cans.
So probably a bad scene for something like that. But yeah, shotgunning a beer, that was definitely something that I borrowed.
And I do remember, I remember, well, I said the beers that he had in his bag were very nondescript, generic, such and such. But I'm going to throw this out there. The beer that was featured in this movie was Rolling Rock.
That's right. You're exactly right. At the very beginning. And it wasn't the actual Rolling Rock label. It was sort of a generic-ish kind of Rolling Rock. But I mean, I drank a lot of Rolling Rock in high school.
Yeah,
I'm
me
not
too.
gonna lie to you.
Green
They
bottle.
had they had the handy ponies. You know, again, the ones that are nice. If you happen to need to cover what you're drinking, if you happen to be in a moving automobile, you know, always a good one to be able to kind of cover up those little ponies. But you know, not endorsing anything. I just saw it in the movie once.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so that was a phenomenon that helped out. And yeah, I mean, when she did finally whip out the credit card, you know, they were able to get a nice dinner and, you know, be able to get a decent hotel room. And again, things were continuing to warm up between the two of them. I mean, early in the movie, there was objections about them even sleeping in the same bed. You know, I won't try anything. I won't try anything. But, you know, again, she's kind of warming up here a little bit. And then by the time they woke up, you know, he had kind of slipped his arm around and kind of did the old slickster move there. And, you know, just trying to see if she throws his arm off or, move, you know, does anything else with it. But yeah, I mean, he was a gentleman. Give him his credit. And he was, I think he was handling things like a professional. But he was thinking about this, though.
Yeah. they actually spent quite a lot. Well, this was the very beginning, right, where, you know, it showed her laying out the mat, getting, you know, checking out the beach, and then of course she applied. I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, phenomenal, beautiful woman. It's ridiculous.
Or even his daydreams when he was thinking about.
Yes.
Oh God, you're just wearing me out. Oh, just one more time, just have one more drink, you know, please. And that's the to those again who weren't alive in the '80s. That's the obligatory beach chair from the '80s. You know, those big foam shit that probably never degrades in 10 centuries. You know, that's what.
Look at his pasty ass legs compared to her tanned arms.
Oh my God, he looks like he died 6 months ago.
Yeah, he has got the leather jacket. He's got those stupid like Terminator
blue blockers,
sunglasses on. Yeah, this is another movie that really showcased a lot of music artist posters in the background. And then we talked about this by Revenge of the Nerds. Hey, were you part of a fraternity? No. But there was have you ever been to a party where vehicles all line up in a circle and then turn on all their lights and then you in the middle drink and party and dance? I've never been to one of those.
Not one time.
But this movie had the car ring dance party in it. Oh,
one other little tidbit I found in the research. Daphne Zuniga said, "It's hard to admit, but I really was a lot like this character." And so that made me think a little bit. I'm like, you know, and I've known of some insufferable people like that over the years, and not only females. I've known males that have sort of adopted sort of this over planning kind of person that doesn't really act spontaneously and things like that. So I was thinking, who did we know in high school that maybe fit that profile? Yeah, not to stir the shit pot, but I was thinking, do we know anybody who maybe was in that? But I don't know that I knew anybody like that back then. I think they
I go to the chess club or the debate team or
Right.
The scholars or the student body.
Yeah, I think. Well, I think if I did remember any of them, I probably shouldn't talk about them at this point. But as far as them being that insufferable person, but yeah, I mean, everybody knew a few people like that.
And
So, but
yeah, and they make more money than you and I.
yeah, it's funny. I do think of one person who I won't name by name because she was actually a fairly known person in Chesapeake. But I dated her for a little while. It's interesting. I was a senior, she was a sophomore, and she used to lecture me about drinking and things like that. Obviously, we were
Ooh.
kids. I mean, 17 and 15 and stuff like that. And it ultimately was like, I can't handle being around you anymore. I mean, this is just, I'm tired. I'm 17 years old. I don't need to be lectured by anybody. And
I
then
need my
the next
space.
person, right. And then the next person that she went out with after me, she turned into like party person for the next 2 years. I'm like, see, I said, I teed you up for success, but thankfully I got out of the way and let her spread her wings. But
Would you put this in the category of a Christmas movie? I mean,
it could be.
He sings Christmas carols and
chestnuts roasting on an open fire, Jack Frost nipping at your nose, Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows that turkey and some mistletoe.
then there is the whole Christmas theme of the party. But yeah, it's California. We're having Christmas here in California, and of course they're all in, UCLA. We're all in t-shirts and shorts and are hanging around in a pool. Oh my gosh.
And what if Robin Wright would have got that job though? And she ended up obviously being in The Princess Bride later on, and she auditioned for it, but Rob Reiner didn't forget about her.
No, yeah, no, she has way more. I mean, I know Nicollette was in Knots Landing 86 to 93, so clearly she can pull off the soap actress, as well as Robin Wright. She was also in a soap opera or soap drama, whatever you want to call it, soap TV show. So yes, come from the same vein of acting. The shooting location was interesting because this is the University of Pacific in Stockton, which I'm like, I guess I should go down there and see what that place looks like. But Stockton is a bankrupt crap hole city in California now. So
I was going to say meth capital of the United States, but yeah, I guess that's pretty much well, most of Central California, I guess, is kind of like that. Bakersfield.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. I know that we talked about this before, where they have, and I agree, by the way. Yeah, so they had to add snow to a particular location because the year didn't turn out like they wanted to, and we've talked about that before, where they actually spray an entire set down to make it look like it's winter. But yeah, this is good. Oh, so this is PG-13. At an hour and 40 minutes. What was an hour and 34 minutes was Weird Science. So pretty damn close. And I didn't bring this up. And I know my audience fans will be like, hey, you didn't mention. So Weird Science was a $7.5 million budget and it made $38.9 million.
Not bad.
Whereas The Sure Thing was $4.5 million budget. I get that. It was pretty basic. But it made $18.1 million. And 7 out of 10 IMDb, so better than Weird Science, and 84% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's pretty good.
I think Rotten Tomatoes is a better gauge of the actual. I mean, you can rank them either way, but it seems like Rotten Tomatoes seems to lean a little bit more on the well-written movies. And interestingly enough, since this was on YouTube, I watched a couple of the making of and some of the. Well, I watched a interview with Daphne 40 years later, and obviously, she's 40 years older and looks a little bit, like she is now. But she told me, she said, the thing was with this movie and why I couldn't turn it down is the writing was so good, and I knew it then. and that's why it still stands the test of time. And again, we talk about it quite a bit. Some of the movies that don't quite hold up, or the shows, it's just the writing's a little bit weak. I mean, maybe it was a cool concept at the time, but you can't beat good writing. You really
no,
can't.
you've mentioned that before, and obviously we're talking about Rob Reiner, which is amazing, and even John Hughes had a pulse with the teenagers of the world. Yeah, he has a "Where's Waldo" shirt on.
He does. Well, again, sort of and everybody you look around has the sweater vest or just the painful sweaters of the time. I remember my mom said, "Why don't you have sweaters like that?" I said, "Because I'm not a dork." That's probably why.
Yeah, they had to have the sweaters on for being in New England, and yes, I did one of those. My gosh, I think I own that sweater. So yeah, the look was good. Both of these movies weren't culturally, aesthetically, accurate to what was going on. They didn't win those types of awards, but no, it was fine to me. Like we said in the beginning, you thought it was something, and then it turned out to be this kind of a beautiful journey of finding each other and realizing, oh, I just spent time with the person that I love, and I just realized it, and everything went well. I mean, he didn't sleep with the sure thing, and the ending shows that. And I thought, yeah, it was good.
But you said, as you said earlier, the English teacher was the linchpin to this whole thing. And when she read Gibb's paper in front of the class, and he clarified that he didn't sleep with her, done. He's in there, baby. And they just cut to the chase. They basically, so you didn't sleep with her, yada, yada, yada.
So speaking of exes, my old boyfriend came over late last night, and yada, yada, yada.
They kiss, credits roll.
Done.
Justice is served.
I would say this one lasted as long as it needed it to. I thought Weird Science was approaching that death spot where we still doing this?
We're running out of plot.
Saying goodbye to the girls. Wyatt, I love you. Like, really, dude, dummy.
Oh my Lord, have mercy.
And then they came back, and then their vehicles magically disappeared, and I was like, okay, can we hurry this up, because I think this movie is over by now.
Yeah, I think 90 minutes is always the sweet spot for 80s movies. They usually pretty much lose us by then.
But this movie also, Rob Reiner had an epiphany, a John Hughes epiphany, and he said, you know what, I'm going to put some kick-ass music into this thing.
I think it might be time to shift gears a little bit into our closeout musical break.
Yes, let's get into some music from these movies. Hit it! Oh, yeah. So welcome to the music part, which we've had a little discussion behind the scenes about, should we make this shorter? But you know what? The 80s were absolutely a phenomenal decade for music that shaped our lives, as we've said in the very first few episodes of why we're doing this podcast. So therefore, no, we're not gonna shorten it. It's grown, it's fun, and I'm sure the way we've evolved it is something that you hopefully appreciate.
And unearth some gems that maybe you forgot about.
We will not, well, you probably might have already heard Weird Science from Oingo Boingo, but I'm going to try not to feature an artist so many times over and over. It's very difficult to do, but this is our challenge. So
that's right.
What I've done is I plucked a song from Weird Science called Tenderness by General Public from 1984. Let's have a listen. So that is General Public. They formed in Birmingham in 1983. This is kind of cool. Have you ever heard of like a forming of a super band, a super group from multiple different really cool bands?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So they're one of those.
who's the lead singer?
I don't know.
I stopped you. It should be on the screen right now.
Yeah, it is on the screen. Well, Ranking Roger is one of the members, and he's from The Beat, or audience might remember in the US, they called it the English Beat. And this group includes members from Dixie's Midnight Runners, Fine Young Cannibals, The Clash, and the Specials. So
Nobody from The Cure?
no, they suck together really well. They all formed together, or at least they all connected somehow. Maybe not all at once, but they were all connected. Anyway, really good stuff. I mean, good Lord, the Beat had his like Mirror in the Bathroom, Save It for Later, I Confess, Too Nice to Talk to You. Yeah, just stuff that you heard and you go, okay, cool, that's the English Beat. But then this band comes up and they start making, damn, that sounds awful familiar. Yeah, Tenderness, I'll Take You There. So good, really cool music, to the point where I actually saw them in concert with Flock of Seagulls in San Francisco with a great friend, Henry Kwan. So awesome.
Sounds bouncy.
Yes.
Kind of like if you're driving a Volkswagen Cabriolet and Can't Buy Me Love, this is a song that I would be listening to as I cruise down the Phoenix Highway.
Yeah, and when we talked about creating that perfect girlfriend, was that, her from Can't Buy Me Love? Maybe.
It all ties together.
Yeah, so this really neat. This band connected with movies. I mean, you'll hear this song and you'll hear their songs in so many movies from the 80s. So I thought that was really cool. And this Tenderness comes from the All the Rage album. All right, so let's listen to some more. I love the clapping. I don't know if that's actually clapping or is a button that they hit and it.
Well, they probably stole it from Private Eyes from Hall & Oates when they were Private Eyes.
Exactly.
Right around the same time.
Okay, my next choice, because the theme, if you haven't figured out, was either Sure Thing, Weird Science, or songs from those two soundtracks, which makes it super easy. We've come across movies and TV shows where I'm not what I'm supposed to pick here, but they make it quite easy in this regards. I picked Wild Thing. I remember this song from '88, just launching into our subconscious.
Our lexicon. Right.
Our lexicon, yes. Like, who is this guy? Phenomenal voice, really fun lyrics, and Yeah. So Tone Loc, Wild Thing. Let's check it out.
Let's do it.
Working all week, 9 to 5 for my money.
Yeah.
So on the weekend
Great voice,
comes,
huh? That's
I'm just-
Anthony Terrell Smith,
All right, that's Tone.
known as Tone Loc. Yeah, Tone Loc.
That is Tone.
You might also remember him from Funky Cold Medina.
So, speaking of that,
Yeah.
us fellow Pasadenians probably remember the 98 Rock Twisted tune, Funky Pasadena.
Funky Pasadena. Put that up there, Paul.
All right, dig it. Come on. There is a little dive and it's just south of Baltimore. If you're from out of town, it's definitely not on the tour. This swampland all around, you're gonna miss us if you're blinking. We never work hard, always blow our wad and spend our evenings drinking. Our hair is really puffy cause we use a lot of mousse. We hang out at the Fountain Blue, Glen Burnie guys think we're loose. I said you're cute, baby, tell me your name. Take out your Oscar Mayer wiener. He said you got no class and you're really class. You're from funky Pasadena. Funky Pasadena. We hang out all our laundry outside in the backyard. If you think it devalues our property, well, that really ain't too hard. We're proud of our 4 trucks parked right on our front lawn. Don't ask, we'd never sell them our lawn ornaments we mourn. Old tires thrown on porches, we use them for a chair. Our furniture's pouring to the Fairlane Bowl, that's why our house is bare. One day we'll move to Towson or down by the marina. But till you get some bucks, I guess you're stuck in funky Pasadena. You know what I'm saying? I'd even set up for Dundalk, East Brooklyn even. Yeah, I know it's by the sewage plant. At least they got more steaking in a 7-Eleven and an Amico. At least the girl can walk out of her house without wearing half a case of hairspray. Got fixed up with this guy. He owned a brand new Beamer. I wanted to show to all my friends in funky Pasadena. We drove to the only light in town past the big and tall men's shop. But everyone was napping because nothing was happening except for this big fat cop. He was hiding behind Sam's used cars, but he'd never be hot on our heels. A 64 Ford, all the city could afford, and it was jacked up on its wheels. So I flipped in the bird, my squeeze turned around. He said, I never seen chicks meaner. You should stand in stalls, cause your girls have balls in funky Pasadena. Of course we do. I mean, this is the 80s where the chicks ain't ladies. In funky Pasadena. I mean, come on, you know where it is. It's like south of Baltimore, like you take 2, you know, where there's all the stoplights and stuff, and you go about 50 miles, and then it's like there.
They picked on our town, said we had 1 traffic light, and that's not true. Back in those days, we had 3 traffic lights. So,
on Mountain Road, right?
I
Mountain
believe,
Road or
yeah,
Mac-
we had one at the firehouse. I think. Well, that wasn't
Yeah, it's-
technically a light back in those
Yeah, it
days. But
was.
yeah, we were kind of a rural town back in '89, but sure as hell ain't 2 traffic lights there now. But
No.
we love the shout out though. It fit obviously
you.
Pasadena, Cold Medina, but yeah, thanks
Funky
98 Rock.
Pasadena. Yeah, good job, everyone. So this guy didn't just magically appear. He grew up in Hollywood, and his parents had a connection with the music industry. He attended Hollywood Professional School. So right off the bat, he wasn't coming from the slums or the hood or the ghetto.
He was a
And,
professional.
yeah, in a teenager, he was in a rap group. But yeah, perfect timing. MTV absolutely loved him. He was in Ace Ventura and other movies, and he, like I said, his voice is phenomenal. So he's a voice talent for
sure
tons of stuff out there. And as we mentioned in the whole movies that we've just talked about, this Wild Thing has been used in tons of TV shows, tons of movies.
Probably a dozen at least. I mean,
yeah.
Oh my God, I can't even imagine the credits he has of that.
Yeah, including John Hughes' Uncle Buck in '89.
Yep. Yeah, it's amazing when you get that one breakthrough song, how you can still take residual checks for the rest of your career because it's just a standby. And God knows, MTV loved the hell out of them. I think the Total Request Live, I think they were #1 for about like 3 months straight, something like that back in the day. So yeah, Tone had his thing.
Yeah. And I think there's a song might be coming up in your list from Weird Al Yankovic. He actually, with one of his first parodies was Isle Thing, doom, 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 and he talked about Gilligan's Island.
Oh my God.
The riff that you might have heard was from Van Halen's Jamie's Crying.
Yep.
They did not approve that. Sampling, I believe, was starting to be more prevalent, and they didn't think anything of it, but Van Halen's record company said, too bad, we're suing you. They settled out of court, and Van Halen, the band, got $180,000.
Figure that was after David Lee Roth left the band, so at least they know it wasn't supporting Dave's cocaine habit. At least they could, help Eddie buy a couple new guitars.
Yeah, $180,000. I have no idea what that buys in cocaine. All right, let's check out some more Wild Thing.
So the weekend comes, I go get live with the honey. Rolling down the street, I saw this girl when she was pumping. I winked my eyes, got into the ride, went to a club, was jumping. Introduced myself as low, she said, you're a liar. I said, I got it going on, baby doll, and I'm on fire. Took her to the hotel. She said, you're the king, so be my queen if you know what I mean. And let's do the wild thing. Wild thing. Wild thing.
I don't know if I should explain that the Wild Thing is it's what Gibb wanted to do to the Sure Thing.
That's right. And then chickened out and hanged out with Daphne Zuniga.
Okay. The next on my list is Wanted Man by Rat. What? Paul pulling a glam metal band? Blah, blah, blah. Yes.
Love it.
Stylized as R, capital A, capital T, capital T.
My first concert.
Really? Okay.
Rat with Bon Jovi opening up for them in '86.
Oh my gosh. Yep. All right. So we've mentioned Rat a few times in previous shows. Not sure if we've actually featured them or not. So, but yeah, Wanted Man is from the Weird Science soundtrack. Here we go. Oh, he has a beautiful voice.
Stephen Piercy. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still are a touring entity, you know.
The story. There's Charlie's touring entity placard.
Yeah, they still are. I actually got to see, well, they were my first concert with Bon Jovi opening up again back in '86 at the Cap Center in beautiful Landover, Maryland. Stephen Piercy's kept his shit together, though. I had talked to you a little bit offline about the Bang Tango singer and I hanging out after a show and getting a picture taken.
Right.
The headliner that night was Stephen Piercy, and he crushed it. Oh my God, the dude still has his shit together, and again, they still are a touring entity that still kind of plays some shows out here and there. But yeah, they had a run of good albums.
They weren't made fun of. I think they were pretty much well respected. They had some solid hits. They had good lyrics. They weren't too flamboyant. So I would have probably picked them over Poison, glam metal. I should probably use that versus hair band. Their origins came from like 1973, so pretty old school. Changed their name a couple times and were called Mickey Rat at one point in time, and then eventually just turned that into Rat. Formed out of Hollywood, and yeah, go ahead. I know you want to say something. Go ahead.
Robin Crosby, one of the
stop it. I already got that covered.
I'll back off on that. However,
okay.
A gem that if you want to go look up this band, go on Decline of Western Civilization Part 2 if you ever want to go look at some of the LA scene back in those days, and you'll see Rat kind of mixed into that movie as well. But I won't seize your microphone in terms of Robin Crosby, so take it away.
This is my research.
Got it.
All right. Yeah, so if you look at their Wanted Man, well, not the album, but the single, certainly, somebody looks very familiar on it. And we mentioned this in a previous show, but it turns out Robin Crosby, who was the guitarist,
rhythm guitarist,
was dating Tawny Katane. I hope we stop talking about her eventually. But yeah, he was dating her, and that is how she kind of got on the album cover or covers, and then eventually their music video that we mentioned in previous episodes. Unfortunately, Robin Crosby died of a heroin overdose in 2002.
He was nephew of Bing Crosby. I thought that's where you were going with that.
Oh no,
so,
I didn't even see
that.
A
little bit. Yeah, he had a little bit of. Well, it doesn't hurt to know people in the show business era, especially in LA.
Okay.
But yep.
All right. That's interesting. Okay, so you mentioned that connection with somebody who's famous, and if you don't know who Bing Crosby is, turn on any Christmas playlist, and you'll hear the guy. But they also had one of their band members was connected to Milton Berle, right?
Yep, he was in the Round and Round video, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
I assume Bing and Milton probably ran around a little bit in the 50s.
I'm sure.
Drinking like gimlets and stuff at the all those LA clubs.
This
great
is
band though.
Oh yeah, phenomenal. This is from their Out of the Cellar album, which was phenomenal. I mean, there's so many that put them on so many lists of being a greatest hard rock band, greatest hard rock songs, so on and so forth. I need to look this up, and I'll put it on the screen actually. When Young Guns came out, because Wanted Man has a Young Guns type of theme approach. They were, cowboys, if you will. People wanted them, and they felt like they were on the run, and so even in their video, they were all like doing these like shootouts, and so that's where it kind of came from, their idea. So that's why I'm curious when Young Guns slipped in there as well, because I know Bon Jovi, you mentioned they were part of their concert. Bon Jovi did a lot of the music for the Young Guns movie.
Yeah, JBJ wanted to be a movie star.
Well, he might not have been a movie star, but he was on the radar of Congress and the PMRC.
Of course he was.
They weren't on the these lyrics are horrible and like Wasp or I don't know. Again, go back and look at our damn PRC episode. They were on the PMRC's radar because of the ladies that they put on their album covers. Tawny Katane, not so much, but there was a Playmate that was on
Invasion of Your Privacy.
Invasion of Your Privacy, and that was used at the hearing of them talking about. And she was a Playmate, very much like Slaughter, which I absolutely love that. I know you hate hate them, but I love that album cover. Yeah, huge MTV. MTV loved them. They loved MTV. I'm sure they were way more successful with MTV being around. And I thought this was kind of cool. They wrote this song in an abandoned building on the Sunset Strip that they were squatting at for until they made their money.
Gotta do something.
You gotta survive when you're in LA.
Deliver pizzas and make movies. And make albums.
Do you want a pepperoni?
That's right. Just keep it off your English paper.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Here we go. More of Wanted Man by Rap.
What we got next?
All right, so this one is not on any soundtrack, but you type in thing, and one thing leads to another. And I went, oh my gosh, this song I freaking remember so much on Friday night videos and MTV. Oh, and then it led me into Red Skies at Night. So loved it. This is The Fix. From 82. Let's check him out. All right, we'll get too far. I got and then
that's a bit of black or what?
White, so good. And then we'll get into the. It's such a it jumps right in, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know why I'm moving, but this is great. They're really cool. They're from London, formed in 1979. I thought this was cool. They were The Fix, as in FIX, at one point, and some record executive and record company went, that kind of implies that it's a drug related thing and we don't want you to be associated with. They went, and so they must have batted that ball back and forth like a tennis match, and they said, can we just add an extra X? And he went, yeah, that works.
It worked for Nikki Sixx, so let's make it The Fix.
There you go. Nikki Sixx is in The Fix.
That's right. And he was in The Fix.
The Rupert Hine produced the album that this song is on. If you don't know who Rupert Hine is, good Lord, I'm not even going to get into his. He was like, we've mentioned a few producers where they just, you're like, okay, well, Mutt Lange, he's in that kind of vein of just, hey, can you help us? Sure.
Midas Touch.
It's a freaking hit. It's a huge, oh my gosh. Yeah, just so it's, yeah, exactly. Midas Touch. Anyway, members in and out. I thought this was really cool. This could be fact checked, but apparently they have the first music video, that used the mobile phone in it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Big shoe phone.
Hey, man, how you doing? Just walking down the street.
Right, looks like something out of Apocalypse Now. Right.
It's not in this song's music video, but I'll put it up on the screen so you can maybe do your own research.
Perfect.
And then once again, as I mentioned, at night, parents are like, "We're going to bed." Oh, turn on Friday night videos, and then you just sit there and it's time.
Oh my God,
All right, so yeah, you're probably watching the video right now. So let's keep going with the fix. One thing leads to another.
State your case with black or white. But when one little cross leads to shots, grit your teeth. You run for cover so discreet. Why don't they do what they say? Say what you mean. But one thing leads to another. You told me something wrong. I know I listened too long. But then one thing leads to another. The impression.
Yep. Timeless.
Oh, it is timeless. Yeah, and I can listen to that song a lot. All right, my next song and last is Lights Out by Peter Wolf. It was on the Sure Thing soundtrack. I had other choices, but I looked this up and I went, wow, oh, this is interesting. This is the lead singer from the Jay Giles band from 67 to 93.
Christine asked me, who sings this? And I said, it's either Jay Giles or Greg Kinn. I said, because those bands kind of sound the same. So, but it turns out it was Jay Giles originally.
That's not Jay Giles.
Right.
It's
right.
Peter Wolf. But yeah,
right.
67 to 83 is a long stint as the lead vocalist. Obviously, beautiful songs like Centerfold and Love Stinks and Freeze Frame. Loved them all. Awesome. But at one point in time, as some bands do, they go, hey, we want to do this. He's like, I'm going off on my own. So went off and did his own solo. And because he's been in the music industry for so long, he knows people. So tons of collaborations. He had tons of people helping him with this initial first solo artist album I think it's self-titled. His name is Peter Walter Blankfield, his real name.
Okay. His
Peter
album
Wolf?
was the name Howling at the Moon.
Yeah, it's Barking at the Moon. Yeah.
There you go.
He's you're like, okay, I get why you might have changed it from Peter Walter Blankfield to Peter Wolf. He did a stint as a DJ. Woofa Goofa was his DJ name.
Wow. Crossover.
He also helped some dude named Barrett Hansen come up with the persona Dr. Demento, another
nice.
DJ that's out there. You might have heard of.
He's actually making an appearance fairly soon here in Vegas, shockingly enough. He's still alive.
He looks pretty old as shit in this.
Oh, he's pretty old.
Yeah. All right. And yeah, Peter, he's not like, doesn't come out of nowhere. He came from the High School of Music and Art in Harlem.
Nice.
That's pretty nice. And then the last thing that I thought was pretty cool about him, he was married to Faye Dunaway.
Wow.
From 74 to 79.
Solid run.
I don't know too much about Faye. Wasn't she like King Kong or something?
Something along those lines. I remember an 80s band, Kick Tracy, made a song called Fade Dunaway, which I don't think was a knock on her.
Bonnie and Clyde, Mummy Dearest.
Okay. Maybe that was
the Thomas Crown Affair.
No More Wire Hangers.
Yeah, I know, right? The Towering Inferno. All right, yeah. So let's listen to more of Lights Out. Flash, flash, flash.
Flash, flash.
Lights out. Flash, flash, flash. Lights out. Flash, flash, flash. Lights out.
Jay Giles is a guilty pleasure kind of band.
Yes, yes. Horrible name, but you're like, damn it. And I feel like if they had a cooler name, they might have lasted longer.
Just like Greg Kinn.
Yes.
And he kept using play on words like conspiracy and all those other things for his albums. But the music was fantastic. They're almost like Huey Lewis, you know. I mean, great singer, great band.
You are creating another debate. Remember how we have the discussion about a solo? Oh no, an artist in a group that did phenomenal and then broke off and became a solo artist and did just as well. How about bands that did really well with fucked up like personal names? Jay Giles, Greg Kinn.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw one at you. Ready? Alan Parsons Project.
Oh boy, yeah. There was a lot to that too as well. He was a part of. I can't remember what he was a part of before that, but he was like a producer on a bunch of albums, and he decided to do his own shit, which was legitimately the Alan Parsons Project. But then that stuck. Like Jesus.
Yeah,
Christ.
you just like stop fucking. I mean, obviously Richard Marx, whatever. But I mean, we could. Yeah, this is gonna be this is gonna be a good drunken topic while we're sitting on the balcony just drinking beers out of San Diego. All right, well, thank you so much for listening to my Sure Thing Weird Science soundtrack themes. Charlie,
cannot beat it. Cannot beat it. Well. We dug a little bit deeper into the themes as I got a little bit flexible with the very first song that I wanted to throw on the playlist this week, but really esteemed band in my history, Faith No More, a song called From Out of Nowhere, which led off their Real Thing album, which was the one that really vaulted them into the mainstream. It was a song that really kicked off the album in a great way, and see if you remember the lead off to Real Thing.
God, I love this band. They were a band to me that, first of all, I love them. I bought their album, but I'm going, they were, Faith No More, 89. They had that power of bridging the gap of the 80s to the 90s. They weren't, they were one of those odd bands. Like, what category do you fit in? Yeah, to me.
Yeah, they sort of were a pre-cusp alternative, I guess, would be a fair thing to talk about them.
Yeah.
I mean, even, well, they actually started in 79. There were the Sharp Young Men, like way back in the day. But Mike Morris, who was the original vocalist of the band, called the name like sort of a piss take on all of the groups of the time. They were sort of kind of poking fun at sort of the music standards at the time. And of course, they're from San Francisco. How many bands do I feature that are from the Bay Area? It almost seems like a creepy little thread that we have. That's kind of, but so much talent comes out of that.
Art department, make one of these. Never mind. Don't.
Seriously. But before Real Thing was Introduce Yourself was the album before that. And there's a song on that album called We Care a Lot, which is on a handful of soundtracks. We care a lot about resource and blah, 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 killer bees. So you've probably heard that song before. So, but they ended up booting that singer out after that album and then hired Mike Patton to be the singer for this particular album, which was, The Real Thing. And
he's got a shaved side and the hair.
Oh yeah, that's him with the flowing hair there in the background, and Just a couple of the other guys there within the band. But that's what brought me in. I mean, I bought the real thing when I heard Epic, the song that really kind of vaulted them to stardom. But then I immediately bought Introduce Yourself, and I'm like, wait a second, that's a different singer. But again, quality music really through and through. Angel Dust was their album after this one, which is also looked at as a very underrated but pretty GD good album. But yeah, another San Francisco band just standing the test of time, and from out of nowhere really kicks this album off. So let's get a little taste before we move on to our next song. So let's hear a little more of From Out of Nowhere.
Touch the button. Beep.
Awesome shit. Yeah, my one that I actually replaced, I was going to actually do The Thing That Should Not Be by Metallica in that leadoff spot. And then I thought about it a little bit, and I'm like, well, decent song off of Master of Puppets, which is one of my all-time favorite albums, but that was also my least favorite song off of that album. So that's where Faith No More kind of made the cut, and Metallica was the alternate. So just calling it out as noted. So next one on the list, the Beastie Boys.
Oh, they're back.
New York legends. We've touched on them a little bit in some past shows. Again, one of my probably one of my favorite rap acts of all time, I guess. Everybody goes back to the fight for your right to party days. I mean, that's always the MTV connotations. That was sort of a layer of the band at that time. But as they progressed through their career, they developed musically, started playing their own instruments, shit like that, like bands like to do.
They were legit, man. God.
They were pretty huge, and 1994 brought the Ill Communication. So that was the Sabotage album. That's the single that most people will remember off of that. But since we're doing lead off songs, Sure Shot, lead it off.
Cause you can, and you don't stop. Cause you can, and you don't stop. Oh, when you can, and you don't stop. Might be coming out for sure shot. I got the brand new dude, you guaranteed like you. I'm on like that's a job. Yeah, Mr. Suits, I'm a newlywed. I'm not a D4C, and everything I do is fucking like Lee Dorsey. Well, it's a taking off the bell of 1, 2, 3. If you wanna do the round, then come see me. I got the savoir fit with the unique rhyming. I keep it on and on.
You know what? I thought about this in regards to the last show with Mr. Roboto by Styx. You saying that you bought that album, you played the shit out of it. I can see a young Charlie buying certain albums back in the day when you were like, hey, son, go to bed. We're watching Saint Elsewhere or Hill Street Blues. Whatever, I'm going to go listen to 98 Rock. You would take your albums out and you would probably read every lyric line and you would practice it.
I'm a liner note guy.
Yeah. So Beastie Boys, same thing. You would go, I've got to learn these lyrics, man.
Well, the thing is with liner notes, again, Beastie Boys were always very good at that. If you ever get to the end of one of our shows, be sure to watch Paul's cards at the very, very, very last 5 seconds of our show to find some really funny shit. But and liner notes, if you're not an aficionado, because most of the time in the digital, if you don't have a physical album, cassette, CD, you don't get to see that sort of thing. So
No.
something to look at with the Totally Radical Mixtape podcast when they get to the very, very, very end. Appreciate what Paul's putting in there.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
But yes, I was definitely, and the funny thing was, I got married in '94, and I actually bought this album for everybody who was in my wedding party.
Oh snap!
Which is kind of a dumb thing, but you know, just something that I
cheap motherfucker.
Right. And well, that's well, usually we get like good shit, and you spent $14 on a CD. That's your usher prize for everybody. Well, yeah, I was on a budget at the time.
My wife is a sure shot.
Right, she's a sure shot.
But this, God. But okay, first of all, to look up the lyrics is cool, and you go, okay, cool, that's what they're saying. But to sing along to the Beastie Boys is very difficult. And yes, you can pull it off if you have that kind of rhythmic talent. It's cool because we talked about this with Shannon. He brought up in episode or show 13, or New Year's Eve, how there's misunderstood lyrics, and you know, even Mr. Roboto with mannequin or modern man. people don't get it, and it's fun to be able to do that because I did the same thing. Especially if you like a song so much, you want to nail it. If you don't, you look like an idiot.
I probably look at. So I only ever saw the Beastie Boys here in Vegas, like in 2005. Literally, I've liked these guys since the 80s, but that was the only time. And it was sort of a fluky thing getting tickets. I actually got it like the early days of the fan clubs and the internet. I was able to get like a code, and I got to see them at the Hard Rock here in Vegas in 05. But but to know for an hour and 45 minutes of an incredibly tight set, I knew every lyric from front to back, and I was almost exhausted at the end of the show because I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I just gave a show to everybody here in the upper balcony."
You did. I'm standing next to you, a-hole, and I'm like, "Can I freaking hear them sing it, not you?"
Right. Yeah, stop screaming it at my right ear if you don't mind. But
sure. Yeah, I know what they're singing, a-hole.
Right, exactly. But the Beasties merit a segment on a future show. But again, if you're a Beasties fan, I'm sure you know the Sure Shot, and we'll hear a little bit more before we move on to our next gem.
Check it out. I keep it on and on. It's never written time in. Strictly handheld is the style I go. Never rock the mic with the pantyhose and strap on my ear goggles and I'm ready to go. Cause at the boards is the man they call him Mario.
Jessicaism. Well, I when he said Rod Carew, I swung right-handed, and I was like, "Wait a second, Rod Carew was left-handed," so I had to correct my swing there.
Now you're just showing off.
Kind of, sort of. I'm comfortable with that.
Rod Carew, Cardinals or Cubs or something with a C.
No. He was a twin star, and then when the free agency rolled around, he joined the Angels, but he was just
the Angels. That's what I'm thinking of.
Pure hitter, just could hit any field, anytime.
Beautiful, Rod Carew, love you, bud.
Got it. The next one on the list went to the police. I didn't call 911, but I did go to an older Police album. Again, we were teetering on our 80s. 70s cusp there, but this band, this particular album came out in 81. So Ghost in the Machine, Every Little Thing She Does Is Magic. Had to kind of truncate the name a little bit. Got a 200 character limit, but yeah, got to do what you got to do. But see if anybody remembers the riff as this song starts out.
And you brought them up on the last show with Synchronicity, which, gosh, the album cover is so recognizable. It was. I'm actually curious where that landed on like top list of everything because it was crazy good. All right.
Oh my God, yeah.
Every little thing she does is. You mentioned Miles Copeland in the previous show, their connection with the Go-Go's, and yeah, he was a manager for the Police. So I mean, just again, and they just had a magic. Well,
well, Paul and I frequently talk about songs like back from like our parents' era and stuff like that. And my dad adored the Police. Holy shit. How many times was this on the 8-track down in the basement when we shot pool and stuff like that? You know, Ghost in the Machine or any of their prior albums. You know, Message in a Bottle. You know, that was one song I always think back. You know, Zenyatta Mondetta was the other 8-track that we always listened to a ton of times.
Your dad had beautiful taste, Charlie.
Got that right. But yeah, that's. You know, again, what can you say? I mean, you know, Sting's obviously had his own thing. You know, Stuart Copeland went on to a lot of, you know, big projects, whether it was production or his own musical things. Even Andy Summers, you know, had his things here and there. But yeah, just the Police were iconic for their era, and it's a shame they didn't stay together and make more music. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's have it a little bit more.
Yep, let's do it.
Can we hear the audience? Anybody? Audience? All right, here we go.
Fucking fantastic. So last two we've got again along with the weird theme, we couldn't leave Weird Al Yankovic out to pasture. So again, this I had to think about this one. You know, Weird Al has quite a body of work. He is still a touring entity who's going to be here in Las Vegas in September with a full set of his classics from 40 some years in the music industry. But his album 3D from 1983 was one that really kind of hit home with everybody. Obviously, Michael Jackson was a leader in the industry back in those days, and Weird Al said, "I can do something with that." So
yeah, I would.
Is that a hot dog in his mouth?
Yeah, he took a bite of it. I would say from the last show. If you go back and watch it, and if you watched it, then you know exactly what I'm going to talk about. I couldn't show his official video because he has tight copyright licensing. So this ought to be interesting to see what we're able to show off of Weird Al Yankovic's "Eat It." So here we go. Yeah,
a little taste.
Here's a little taste.
kids are starving in Japan, so eat it. Just eat it. Don't wanna argue, I don't wanna debate. Don't wanna hear about what kind of food you hate. You won't get no
So he's from. Did he come out at the right time? I think he did. There's so many parody songs, and people ate that shit up. Clearly, ate up.
Well, there really wasn't anybody that did that back then. Yeah. But he also came to prominence on the Dr. Demento show, as you have already cited once on the show. That's honestly where I found the guy. I remember way back in the day, I think it wasn't, I don't know if it was 98 Rock or it was another local station, but they always had the Dr. Demento thing like Sunday night at like 9 to 11 or something like that at night. And I remember hearing this song before it ever hit MTV. I'm like, holy shit, this is absolutely brilliant. And he's from Downey, California. Again, I don't know how close that is to the San Francisco area, but but he actually learned. He was an accordion player growing up.
Yeah,
and he credited Elton John's "Goodbye Yellow Brick Road" as he started to learn how to play rock on the accordion at that point. So he started trying to develop some parody music. Long story short, then he started putting some albums out. He put some songs up. Dr. Demento actually spoke at Weird Al's school when he was 16 years old, and Weird Al gave him a homemade cassette tape of some of the stuff he had done on the accordion, and that's really what got him the airplay on Dr. Demento, which positioned him for success. And honestly, when it comes to parody music, who else can you think of that would be the gold standard other than Weird Al?
Phenomenal. And people who come behind him are like, yeah, I get it. But yeah, he was amazing at the right time, at the right moment. I love the documentary with what's his name on the screen from Harry Potter. But yeah, it was so fun. I mean, even the documentary was a parody of his life. He's like, oh, so what's going on, Weird Al? He's like, and then Madonna comes down. He's like, hey, Madonna. I say, hey, all right, well, nice having sex with you, or some kind of thing. he's like, did you just have sex with Madonna? He's like, yeah, she's crazy in bed, kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
It was great stuff.
Well, a couple of the other 80 things he did in the 80s. Remember MTV when the Monkees became like a thing there for a while? So the Monkees had their show. So he actually toured. He opened for the Monkees when they actually toured with that show. He said he got screwed out of a bunch of money from the promoters and stuff like that. But he also did UHF. It's kind of like a forgotten movie from the late 80s. Michael Richards and a handful of other folks were in that one. But yeah, I mean, the dude worked his ass off back in the old days. But yeah, he's continued to tour. I mean, he's had a couple documentaries I know that he's made that have shown up on some streamers and things like that. So pretty damn impressive. The dude played accordion in the early 70s, and he still has a music career here in 2026.
Yes.
So, but yeah, but definitely one of his
American
biggest
Dream.
hits.
Yeah, American Dream.
So let's hear a little bit more, and then we'll get to our last song of the set.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry.
Don't wanna hear about what kind of food you hate. You won't get no dessert till you clean off your plate. So eat it. Don't you tell me you're full, just eat it. Eat it. Get yourself an egg and beat it. Have some more chicken, have some more pie. It doesn't matter if it's boiled or fried. Just eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. Just eat it. Oh! Your table manners are a crying shame. You're playing with your food, this ain't some kind of game. Now if you starve to death, you just have yourself.
It's beautiful. I mean, you're right. He's a workaholic, and he came up with all those. I mean, the lyrics are great. I mean, you can come up with parody stuff, and you go, that's kind of hokey. His stuff was like,
well, it's sort of like what we said with Funky Pasadena. I mean, a twisted tune is one thing, but to completely, rework a song, the lyrics all match, and again, it's musically sound. Again, the guy has just been a
I mean, look at the album. He got somebody to airbrush that or do the artistry and all that. Yeah, so he went full throttle into it, and
well, I knew a good airbrusher back in the '80s, but maybe you should have looked him up.
I couldn't do faces. All right, moving on.
So last one of the set tonight, again, keeping the sort of thing theme that we have is Sex Type Thing by Stone Temple Pilots. I have a couple weird little connections to this band. When this album first came out, saw them at a little club called The Rage in Baltimore, and I had only ever heard this song by Stone Temple Pilots. So see if you guys remember the opening riff to this song, because I'm sure it'll ring a few memory bells.
Yeah, I don't know if you have any more images of Stone Temple Pilots, but it reminds me of Radiohead. If you watch the next show or the last show, there's like this, you got the drummer, the guitarist, the bassist, whatever, and they're all like,
yeah.
But then the lead effing singer is all weird, like, all right, we're gonna take a picture, and they go, really? Are you gonna take a picture?
Right.
Let me put my sunglasses on. Let me and you're like, dude, can you just stand still like everybody else in your band? You're like, no, I'm the lead singer. I'm so eccentric, and
that's all we're asking.
That's what it looks like right there. Thank you, Scott. Wackadoo. Here we go.
Such good stuff.
Oh my gosh, yeah, what an album. God.
So seeing them in the Rage, it was basically a little small Baltimore club that held about 200 people. That was like, I said, these guys are way too big for this room.
Did you come out of there like without bruises?
Yeah, it wasn't too aggressive at that point, but again, we'll actually air the footage in a later episode. But in 1996, I actually won a contest through WHFS to actually go interview this band at Madison Square Garden in 1996. It was on their Tiny Music tour, and I got to interview Eric Kretz, the drummer who's shown on the left there. I interviewed him, and I was able to interview Scott Weiland. He didn't have a fancy sweater on that night. He was still at his stinking ass post backstage kind of stuff. But pretty cool interview that I had with those guys. And Stone Temple Pilots. I mean, if I look back, are they one of my top 50 bands of all time? Probably not. I mean, they were a rockin' alternative band. I mean, they put on a hell of a show. Yeah. I mean, I saw them a bunch of times. I saw them 3 times in 2 weeks because of all the shit that happened with the radio station, winning the contest and all that stuff. Yeah, they were pretty damn amazing.
They were in that group of Nirvana, and to me, I actually love the band live. Live and Pearl Jam and Stone Temple Pilots and Soundgarden. So as the 90s moved in, you're going, all right, well, this is a bunch of new stuff. I felt like you were going, all right, I need to pick a winner. I need to pick a winner. Do I go with Nirvana or do I go with Pearl Jam? No, Stone Temple Pilots. No, I'm going to go with Tool. I'm going to go with, there's all kinds of ones that you selected. You mentioned Helmet, in the previous show. So you kind of gravitated to something that resonated with what you were looking for at that time, and that kind of put you, because in the end they were all kind of, Nirvana talk shit about Pearl Jam. Pearl Jam's like, geez, really, dude? And we're all trying to just make music here, and a couple of stuff sounded similar, but in the end you're like, dude, just pick something and stick with it, and they're going to go far. Oh, wait a minute, Stone Temple Pilots didn't go very far. So,
well, they're not the knock always, and it was a lot of the same kind of bullshit they talked about in magazines back in the day. This band ripping off that band and everything else. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I always say, pick these albums up 30 years later and see if they stood the test of time. And it's funny as in the run up to the show, I've kind of went through the STP library and listened to some of the old stuff, and it still does hold up. I mean,
it does. Yeah.
Some of the softer stuff, I didn't really dig as much back 25, 30 years ago when I, was angsty about all the stuff that I listened to. And I appreciate kind of, yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't break bottles over your head on every song, but, but they definitely had their time. And, even Scott Weiland went on later before he passed away from the overdose, did stuff with Velvet Revolver, which that was like Slash from Guns N' Roses. And, he was a unique vocal talent, but unfortunately he couldn't, he succumbed to his addictions and stuff and didn't make it. So there we are. But we always have, their early stuff. And this album was, again, life-changing for some. I mean, Sex Type Thing's a fucking great song.
Yeah.
So
a little bit
let's
more.
hear the rest of it and we'll wrap it up. Our HR song for the night.
HR song. That's right, because we've clearly crossed a couple lines here.
Certainly. All right, so I think and the one last thought about, they are from San Diego, California, which is where our next episode 20 will be filmed.
If you're watching this, we've already been there, we've already done it, and you're like, oh God, they were talking about it like it was going to come up. Well, yeah, we're talking about, because we haven't gone there yet, but we're going to go there.
It's gonna happen. But for episode 19, we're gonna wrap it up.
I can't help myself, Charlie. But wow, quite a journey we've been on on this show.
We have.
All right. Not sure these movies helped me learn any life lessons when I first watched them, but they were fun, that's for sure, and memorable. In a year, good Lord, Back to the Future, Rambo 2, Color Purple, Rocky 4, Goonies, Spies Like Us, Breakfast Club, and more. I mean, 85 was an insane year for movies. So, of course, the audience knew this because, they peruse our Facebook and Instagram pages.
And we are truly grateful for your ongoing support of the show as we continue to grow over our episodes. Again, we're up to 19 now. But be sure to check out our past library of shows, our YouTube page, if you want to continue the virtual time travel back into the 80s and 90s nostalgia, the way we do it on the Totally Radical Mixtape podcast. We certainly appreciate you all for watching. And, you've got plenty of podcast choices out there. But when you want to spend a couple hours reminiscing in the 80s with the experts, we're always going to be your sure thing. So we'll see y'all next time when we do our episode 20.
All right, here we go. The love is in the air.
You get so tough.
I look like a fighter.
All I ever wanted to do was get close to you.
Everything else means nothing to me.
I came across time for you, Sarah.